The following program is brought to you by Deliverance Outreach Ministries, right here in Ocala, Florida.
You know, it was just so strange how everything goes on. Satan is busy. He ain't gonna stop if you don't have to. He's gonna keep on throwing things at you, and every time you turn around, it's gonna be something different. So I'm kind of used to that. Anytime you work for the Lord, you should be used to Satan throwing things at you. So don't act like it's a surprise, because it's not. He getting better at it. He think of different ways to do it. But he's going to do it. He's going to continue to do it. Today I'm going to read out of the book of Job. And we're going to go over a couple of other things. But just out of the book of Job, I just want to read the first few chapters. Not chapters, but verses. In the book of Job, it said, there was a man. Everybody with me? There was a man in the land of Oz. Not Oz, let's say Uz. Uz. But it's Oz, either way it goes. And it says his name was Job. And that man was blameless and upright, and one who feared God, and he shunned evil. And he had 7 sons and 3 daughters that were born to him. Also, his possessions were 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 300 yoke of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and a very large household. So that this man was the greatest of all people of the East. And his sons would go and feast in their houses, each on appointed day, and would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. So it was when the days of feasting had run their course, that Job would send and sanctify them. And he would rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. And we need to understand that. So we're going to read a little further, because now Satan was seeing all these good things that was happening with Job. And Satan decided he was going to take a trip and talk to the Lord about Job. And him and the Lord had a discussion about Job. And Satan was telling him, if you just remove that hedge you got around him, I'll make him curse you and die. That's basically what Satan said to God. And God was letting him know that, you know, Job is not one of those people you're going to change their mind so easy. He knew Job's heart. Satan did. So Satan says, I'm going to put forth an effort to show you that he's going to curse the day that he was born. You know, for a message, in reading this, I would like to use the term, you must have forgot. You must have forgot. And before I start into this text, as I look through the Bible and I try to decide what it was that God would have me talk to his people about, I begin to understand that through it all, no matter what you going through or will go through in this life, you will go up under spiritual attack.
True.
No matter how much you love Jesus, no matter if you're doing everything right, you still going to go up under spiritual attack. That's his job. And we got to understand that, yes, God can stop all of that, but he doesn't all the time. Sometimes he allows you to go through some spiritual attack. This strengthens you. It's not always to punish you. Most people think when they start going through some problems, oh, well, I must have did something wrong. You know, why am I being attacked? You know, Lord, why are you letting this happen? Why not? He is God. And whatever he says goes. You got to remember, no matter what you're going through, Satan can only do to you what God allows him to do.
That's right.
But see, a lot of us, when we start going through some things, we get this thing confused. And we sit there and Satan will punch you on the right side of the face, and you'll turn, and he'll punch you on the left side of the face, and you stand there and you take it. But you got to understand, the first thing people say when they see you going through things is that you must be out of the will of God. And that's not always the case. You can't listen to everybody because you're going through something and they tell you that you might be out of the will of God. When Jesus Christ died on the cross, he was in the will of God.
Perfect will.
So we got to understand, people can't let you tell you that you might be out of the will of God. And when I say we stand there a lot of times to let Satan punch us out, it's because that's just what we do. Who did God give authority down here on earth?
Okay.
He gave us authority.
Yes, he did.
And then he also said that we could bind Satan just by speaking it.
Amen.
So why are we allowing him to run roughshod in our life when we got dominion down here? Not Satan.
Hallelujah.
He don't have dominion. We do.
Yes.
Open your mouth and start talking to God. Get you a relationship with God. Yeah, you're going to go through some things. Sometimes it's going to seem like, boy, it gets worse every day. You know, what do? When you're following in God's footsteps and you're doing everything the way you feel like God is leading you. And the trouble just seems to get worse and worse. Look at Job. See, you ain't been through nothing compared to what he went through. And then we have the author that says, Lord, why me? Why not? Look what they did to Jesus. But he went through it. He wasn't out of the will of God. So just because you're going through some things in this life don't mean that you're out of the will of God.
That's right.
Sometimes it simply means that he's allowing you to go through these things because he's getting ready for the next level.
Yes. Amen.
And on that next level, you might need some of what you're going through to handle what you got to go through.
Amen.
See, God can see the whole picture.
Yes.
We can only see a small portion of that picture. So when you're going through some things, stop getting mad and letting what you're going through dictate the kind of person you're going to be to other people. Because it's not fair to yourself. It's going to be a lot of things that you can't handle.
Right.
Okay, there's a lot of things I can't handle even as a pastor. We go through things. We have to go talk to God. Sometimes God put other pastors in our life to give us somebody earthly people to talk to. You know, you can't think just because you go talk to God that he's going to give you an answer every time you say Lord. It don't work like that.
Right.
You got to build that relationship.
Yes.
And he'll tell you or send people to you.
Yes.
He got another way of doing that too. The least person you think will be the very person that God sends to you. So you got to be careful. That's why I say be careful the way you treat people. You got to be careful of what you speak over people. I don't let everybody come and say, well, Lord told me to pray for you. And then they want to come and they'll take out their oil and they start putting on here. God told me to pray for you. Well, no, God, I think God will let me know.
Okay.
If he wants you to really, you got to be careful. Who you allow to pray over you?
Yes.
Do you know this person? Are they really living that life?
Yes. Amen.
But some people will come up and they want to pray for you, and that's all right. That's what they want to do, you know. But at the same time, you got to be careful because Satan comes in disguises. And a lot of times, those things you're going through, you have allowed them into your life. You got to be careful who you allow into your life and who you allow to pray with and over.
Yes.
Because the Bible speaks of these things. God never said it would be easy. Jesus never told us. Now, I don't remember, Pastor, maybe I missed it somewhere, where once you give your life to me, that everything is going to be fine.
Didn't say that.
No, it's the farthest thing away from truth. When you give your life to God, excuse the expression, that's when all hell breaks loose.
Okay. All right.
Because see, as long as you're doing what Satan wants you to do, he ain't got no reason to bother you. But as soon as you try to change this thing around and start trying to do what's right, he jump on you with both feet.
Okay.
Right, right.
And he don't let up. That's why you got to remember that you're built in God's image. God has given you dominion on earth. And through your regular speech, you can tell Satan to behave himself. You got authority over him. Because Jesus died on the cross for us to have that authority. So stop letting people tell you that you're not in God's will because you're going through a few things. So anyway, back to the sermon. As I was reading this, I came up that you have to let Satan know that you belong to God.
Amen.
You got to let him know that your family belongs to God. Your car belongs to God. Your bank account belongs to God. Everything you own, have, the very air you breathe belongs to God.
Amen.
And once Satan get that understanding, then you turn around and you walk Satan to the door. And you open the door. And you say, okay, it's time for you and your little buddies to get.
Amen.
You have the power to speak it. And it's so. You just got to know that it's already done.
Amen.
But we have the power to say, okay, I'm tired of this, Lord. You know, hey, this is no more. You speak over your life. Speak over your children.
Yes.
Speak over your parents. Speak over your friends. You can speak life and you can speak death.
That's right.
The power of your tongue,
Yes.
you just don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, wars have started with the power of the tongue.
Amen.
So we know that we have this power because Jesus said that we would. He said, the things I do, you can do and greater. Which means, if I'm reading my Bible and I'm listening to what Jesus is telling me, I got the same power that he had.
Amen.
Hmm. So that means that now I have power over Satan. I can tell him when to leave. I can bind him.
Right. Amen.
But you can't go there with a half heart, half scared, and say, you know, Satan, get out of my house. He'll look at you. He'll say, who house? You got to go there fearless.
Amen.
Because God didn't give us
Fear.
fear. He gave us power.
Yes.
So we're supposed to have power.
Love.
But you can't go there weak. That's like a little girl on a football field with grown men tell them how to hit. Y'all got to hit like this. How many of them going to listen to them? But if they go in there with authority and say,
Okay.
you need to do this, this, and this, let's go, let's do it. You see, you got the authority.
Yes.
Satan don't have no rule over you. But we have issues. We all have issues. You know, when I look back and I think about David, David had some issues. You know, David was grumpy a lot of times. He was scared when he prayed. He prayed, and he was afraid a lot of times that he prayed. And it wasn't that he didn't know. David, he wrote in the book of Psalms, and he wrote with his heart crying a lot of times. He cried over sin. He had a huge grief on the loss of his sons. I mean, all these things he had, but he still knew who to go to
Yes.
when things got rough. Satan's first son, he died, he got from Bathsheba. And God didn't like the way that was handled, so God let him know before the kid was born that he was going to die. See, God don't have to agree. You got to be careful the way you do things. And what David did, God did not like or agree to, so he said, your son will die. And after a week, he did die. So David was grieved about that, but after he died, David got up, shook himself off, cleaned himself up, ate, and went and praised God.
Yes.
See, you're going to go through some things. But that's when you got to get up and shake your bootstraps off and just go praise God.
Amen.
Okay, another thing David went through with Absalom. You know, being killed by 10 young men, and they killed him. He grieved Absalom. So God allowed him to do lost two sons that he loved. And I'm saying this, I'm going to lead back, I'm going to twist this thing back together. And the reason I'm telling you this is because God will allow you to go through things
Yes.
for a reason. But that don't mean you're going to keep going through them. It's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. Amen.
So after David's son Absalom got killed, you think, oh my God, what else can the guy take? You know, but he's still praising God. And then look what God did. That's why I say you must have forgot. We got a forgiving God.
Yes.
And if he lose something, he going to bless you 10 times fold.
Amen.
So what God did was after he had lost two sons, then he turned around and blessed them with a king. And the son that he blessed them with was one of the most powerful kings in the Bible. And that was King Solomon.
Yes.
So you see, he lost too, but look what he gained. So God don't just allow you to go through things. It's double for your trouble. When we get back to Job, and if Job lost everything he had, his family, his cat, everything that he had, including his kids. All the kids were killed. So God took all his money, all his home, all his kids, all his livestock, all his servants. He just took them. He allowed them to be taken. But look at him in the end. Because of his belief in God, God turned right back around and gave him 10 times what he had. So you see, we might go through some things, but we cannot leave God out. We cannot do this without God. And we need to realize that God ain't dead.
Amen.
He's alive.
Yes.
And when you're going through some things, don't be so quick to give up on God, because he won't give up on you. We find out in Samuel 12, in Samuel 12, 15 to 23. That mostly talks about the death of Absalom. Okay, what I was just saying about, in case you want to read about that. And how troubled David was. And then God, like I said, turned around and blessed him with Solomon. And then we talked about, if we look in Psalms 34, 38 and 4, it talks about carrying a heavy burden. It talks about how David let him know that, look, this burden is too heavy for me to carry. We need to understand that you can take that heavy burden that you carry and give it to God. You don't have to try to carry these burdens that you're feeling by yourself. You can always take it to God. And we need to understand also that in, I was just thinking, although David was going through all these things, Job went through all these things, and the Bible clearly states that they went through some things. But God still turned around and blessed them 100-fold. So you cannot give up on God.
That's right.
Elijah did the same thing with the prophets of Baal. He went and he killed all these prophets of Baal, listening to God. But then after he killed them, it seemed like he lost some faith somewhere. Because he got scared of Jezebel. And he went and hid from a mere human. Jezebel, after he seen what God had done. So see, we all going to have weak moments. But if we just keep believing in God, things will get better.
Amen.
I've been through some things. God has allowed me to see some things and to go through some things. But I never gave up on God. And I never will. Yes, we do catch some hard times. Right now life is better than what it was 10 years ago.
Amen.
But it ain't like God just came in and said, oh, you having problems, my son. I'm going to make it better. No. We got to have some faith in there. See, when you start going through it, number one, you got to give it to God then. And then you got to sit back and let God do what he do. Now, I can say that, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy. It's going to take some faith. And as I was looking and reading this text, I thought about, and I read this too. I saw it on Facebook and I was thinking about it. It said if Maya Angelou, y'all know who Maya Angelou is, the great poet writer, said if she had died when she was 20 years old, she would have died a prostitute and a single mom. And you know what I think about that, and I look back, I say, wow, this is how God can change things.
Yes.
And then I read a little bit further, it was talking about Malcolm X. And if he had died at 20, then he would have died as Detroit Red. And he was a thief, a woman beater, and he was a drug addict.
Yep.
And after I read this and I thought about today, that goes into what I'm telling you. No matter what you're going through now,
Right.
God got the whole picture
Yes.
already planned. What we got to do is be patient. Because all these things, these people I was just talking about, they died very respectable people.
Yes.
And God had lifted them from poverty to another level. And that's what I was just saying. Sometimes God will allow you to go through some things to get you prepared for the next level. So anybody that's going through some things right now, don't look at it as you being out of the grace of God. Look at it as that God is getting you prepared for the next level. Now, some of us, our heads a little bit hard than others. I had a hard head. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to see it. When my mom told me, said, you're going to be a preacher one day. And my sister told me the same thing. I just looked at her. I said, yeah? I said, well, where you get that from? And my mom said, well, God told me that. And I look at her. I was a smart end. I look at my bottle of Henderson, and I look at her, and I said, okay, well, until he tell me, pass me my bottle of Henderson. Arrogant.
All right.
But look where I'm at, working for the Lord.
Amen.
So God can change
Yes.
where you at
Yes.
and what you're going through. Because I didn't want to hear it. I was okay. Being Henderson was okay. I ain't had no problem with Henderson. But I wasn't doing what I was designed to do. See, God has designed and given each and every one of us a job in this lifetime. A purpose is what people call it. Once you learn your purpose and you learn how to walk in your purpose, then you will prosper. But in order to get in your purpose, you got to pray to God so he will lead and show you your purpose. God has a purpose for every one of us. Now, we don't always know. That's why you have to learn how to walk with God. Because when I first came into this building, like I was telling Pastor Young and everybody else, it was one desk and one computer. I had no idea what God wanted me to do because I didn't know my purpose. I knew that I wanted to help people. That was heavy on my heart. And that's what God allowed me to be able to do. Because apparently it was already in his will. Because people came in, they started donating toward a clinic, which I had no idea why, because I didn't have no money. I wasn't going to run no clinic. That's out of the question. I said, besides, you got to have doctors. Who's going to pay them? But God said, no, it's a thing called 501c3. So get you one of them first. And then you go tell the doctor you need him to work. Don't ask. Tell him. And me with my little bold self, I told Dr. Cannon what I wanted to do. I've been with him about 25 years. And he blessed me with the place and said, okay, we'll do this. And then I told some of his friends I need them because these poor homeless people need some help. And they're down on the streets. And they volunteer free to come in and see you. So you can't tell me God ain't able.
All right.
Because there was nothing Pastor Oliver did. This was all God. And I'm saying this to say how God will bless you tenfold. Because now I got about 14 doctors. And they all come in to try to give me 4 hours a month. So now guess how many people I can see. As I did a count last week, we got 3,700 people we've seen in 2 years. Free of charge. Got their medicines, they're on the medications, and look at God. Look at God. So I'm going to keep on believing that he can do what they say he can do.
Amen.
So no matter what we go through now, God's got a plan. What we need to do is pray and learn how to walk in our purpose. Because he has a purpose for each and every one of us. And that's why we learn in Bible study about your purpose and what you're doing and what's your gift. Because God is only going to use everything to upbuild his kingdom. And if you got a gift, you need to know what it is. How can you help God if you don't know your gift? How do you learn about your gift? You learn from the pastor and the teachers. They come in and tell you what the gifts are all about. We had a beautiful Wednesday service.
Amen. Amen.
And we learned about the different gifts people have. Some gifts are nice and sweet, and some gifts be a little harsh. But you know, you never know. And I do have a problem. I got a problem with telling people the truth. But I got to learn how to sweeten it up some.
All right.
But it's the truth, though, either way it goes. Whether I tell it to you bitter or whether I tell it to you sweet, the truth is the truth.
Yes.
If I tell you the truth right, the truth going to cut you anyway. So I got to learn how to be more, what's the good word, Pastor? Because you always tell me.
Gentle.
Gentle.
Pastoral.
Pastoral. And see, he can tell me that because that's who God sent to help me. And I can listen. And I always say, well, Pastor, I tried to say it like this. Did you say it like a pastor? I said it. You know, so it's a good thing. We're small now in numbers, but everybody, when they come in, they know what we expect. It's going to blow up. But we got to get people out of the habit of just taking off a Sunday because their foot hurt. Take off a Sunday, oh, well, you know, I got a bad bladder infection. I can't come to church. Oh, well, we all probably get infected with the bladder. But these are the things that they call you by, and I just have to laugh. So why? That's too much info. Okay, if I stay home, you can pee in the church, though we got bathrooms. But these are the excuses that they come out. I hear this all the time, and I'm like, come on, God. You know, but I guess that's part of learning how to be a good pastor, that they're going to call you and tell you these things.
Amen.
You know, I just prayed for them. So, okay, well, you be careful. And I hope God, you know, help you to get better. If not, you know, we'll try to get you in for a doctor's appointment. But, you know, it's raining outside. I can't go today. But you got a new car and an umbrella. But I can't come to church because it's raining out there pretty hard. And, you know, and I've learned that too. You know, well, just because it's going to rain a little bit don't mean it's going to keep raining. You lay there at home, and then the sun come out.
Yes,
And then the devil start laughing. See, I fool you again. Got me like that a couple of times. So I know he'll do it. So now you come with the rain and shining. You come anyway. Because if that's where God is telling you need to be, then we need to be there. But we got to stop playing church. We just got to come in and just worship and serve God and love on God like he loved on us.
Yes.
These guys went through some things when they got to the Bible. It tells us that it wasn't easy. And so this shows us too that if God allowed his own son to suffer, then why not us? Don't ask why, ask what I can do about it. How can I get out of this situation and stop blaming other folk? That don't mean, like I said, that you're out of the will of God because you're going through something. You might be in a test, who knows? But God. And so I can say that, and before I take my seat, is just that. Don't forget who God is. You might be going through some things right now, but he can snap his fingers and your whole life change around in an instant.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
In an instant. Before you can say I, your whole life can change around. So don't be so down on yourself. It might not be anything that you did. Because Job didn't do anything but love on God. But look what he went through. And look what he lost. But then look at the whole picture. And look how he was paid back and restored. So everything you're going through, know this. That if it's in God's will, it can be restored. You can get back everything that the cankerworms eat up. You can get it back.
Amen.
Because of the God we serve. He's understanding, he's forgiving, and one thing we got beat that we don't realize, he loves us. And you know how you love your children? He loves us the same way. He might let you go through it for a little while, but when he gets tired, he'll reach out, okay, let me get this fella up here and shake this mud off him. He lets you get a little dirty sometimes, but he still keep you. He don't consider nothing a loss. So don't look at people and automatically judge they ain't worth nothing. Because if God did us like that, boy, all of us would be in one sack together.
All right.
So I'm not going to ever look at a person that ain't worth nothing. You can't say that because he take the worth nothings. See, God just need a little bit to work with.
Amen.
He don't take nobody that's got a whole lot trying to. He take the people with less, with a little bit. See, and that goes to show you his faith anyway. He'll take a little bit and make a lot. So he needs just but a little bit. So just a little bit of faith is all he needed. He'll build off of that.
Amen.
But you don't have to come to God. I'm already saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. I have mind to keep on. You hear that all the time. That's a beautiful cliche. But what's really in your heart? People always say, I got a mind to run on for Jesus. Where you going to run? And I hear it all the time. It's a cliche. You know, and for people to hear it. But God knows your heart.
Yes.
So what you need to do is work on your heart. Don't care what people think. Work on you. And when you can work on you, anything that you come to in life that challenges you, God got your back.
The following program is brought to you by Deliverance Outreach Ministries, right here in Ocala, Florida.